What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of the Halving Report. The price of Bitcoin is about 11,500 US dollars, or about 15,100 Canadian dollars. There are 1,295 days or 43 months left until the next Bitcoin halving. Today we are interviewing longtime Bitcoiner Jan Klosowski to the show. Jan has built DeltaBadger.com. Delta Badger is a dollar cost averaging tool for Bitcoiners, and you can participate in this service by simply clicking the link in the show notes below. The service allows you to dollar cost average into Bitcoin on virtually any time frame for existing Binance, BitPay, and Kraken users. Let's jump right into the conversation with Jan. One of the first things I like to ask people is what is their Bitcoin stories and how did you first hear about it, and what is it that made you so passionate about it?
Yeah, so I've heard about Bitcoin 2010 actually. It was the first Polish Warsaw hackathon. I don't remember the name right now. It's late, but it was a hackathon. There was a lot of geeky people from around the world. So I've heard about Bitcoin. I didn't understood that at all, but I got hooked in this technical aspect. It sounded fun and interesting, and there was this aspect of novelty, and I followed it, but from a perspective of this technical side, let's say, for a couple of years. And around 2015 I started to be interested in investing, and I was looking into different things at the time. I was learning about stock exchange. I was learning about different type of assets, about real estate, and Bitcoin came back. And from all those things I was looking at, I started to understand that while this Bitcoin looks really the most interesting from all those things, and I started buying it. So that was basically my story. And at some point I was really excited. I was talking a lot about Bitcoin to my friends. What wasn't the best idea, I think, because later on everybody was asking me, is it the right time to buy? Will it go up? Should I buy now? Is it too late? All those interesting questions, you know. So I think the first time I have this idea to do this dollar cost averaging service like this was because of that. Because the answer is always the same. You should do dollar cost averaging, but it demands discipline. It's not easy to follow. It's a simple strategy, but when the time comes, you need to follow your plan. You know, you need to stick to your guns and do what you planned. And usually, when the price is falling, you need to sell, and when the price is rising, you need to buy more. So it sounds easy, but from the beginning, I thought that automation does make a lot of sense here and can improve how people implement that.
Yeah, I definitely want to dive into your dollar cost averaging tool that you've built, but maybe just jumping back a little bit just so we can understand you a little bit more. And can you tell us what your life was like before Bitcoin?
I'm a UX designer, generally a designer, but I'm a UX designer more than 15 years now. So I grew up professionally. I grew up in a startup community, so I'm a geeky person. I wasn't really money oriented, let's say, even 5 years ago. I was always interested in, technology, in doing cool stuff. Wasn't really that much into money. And so that's why my story with Bitcoin reflects this as well. But at some point, I got to the point when I was kind of burned out as a UX designer. I thought that, okay, I'm still having fun doing that, but I'm not sure if I want to do this in 10 years, in 20 years, and I need to have a plan, like a plan B. So I started to look into other possibilities, and I started to understand that I need to look into this money thing. I need to think about investing, about planning a bit more. And yeah, that's why I changed a bit my interest. And actually, I dive into investing quite a lot. I found it really interesting and fascinating. And yeah, I guess now it's my another hobby.
Right. Then when you discovered Bitcoin, you said you were more intrigued by the technical side of things. Was there something particular about Bitcoin? Because it's got so many different aspects to it. Was there one thing in particular that stood out to you that made more sense than anything else that just clicked for you?
Yeah, there are a couple of aspects of Bitcoin that are really fascinating. I don't think I'm an exception here. It's the fact that the creator is anonymous. And it's a technology with such a great impact on the world. and the creator is unknown. It's just mind-blowing. There is nothing like this. So this itself, it's such a powerful story. I believe many people fell for it, and I'm still blown away by the fact. And not about. How about you? What do you think about this? Because for me, it was from the beginning. It was the most powerful part of the story, that this such a powerful technology, such a powerful invention, and we don't know who created it, and there is still very passionate discussion about this.
Yeah, the fact that Satoshi Nakamoto, nobody knows who that is, I think that's very important aspect to being truly decentralized, and I think why Bitcoin will reign king supreme in the cryptocurrency world for a long time to come. So I totally agree with you there, and I think many more aspects of it.
But decentralization, for example, the fact that we don't know creator, and that, for example, the owner of a lot of coins mining at the beginning is unknown, and he didn't move those coins. It really helps the centralization aspect of Bitcoin. It's something that many other project lacks.
Yeah, actually, that is something that I tend to overlook, is that those original coins have never been moved, right? So when you guys have people coming out claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, like Craig Wright, and saying that he has the key, but you can't access the funds. I mean, that would be the simplest. You would think the creator of Bitcoin would not lose their private keys. You would hope, anyways. So yeah, no, that's a very good point as well.
Yeah, with decentralization, there is an aspect that people often miss, that and it's an initial distribution of coins, right? So with many projects started after Bitcoin, there was always this issue that they were hugely centralized, and Bitcoin is an exception because the biggest owner of coins is actually an unknown, and he didn't move those coins. And also, when the project started, nobody treated it seriously. So people involved early, they wasn't really meticulous, serious about keeping the stashes. So all projects coming after that was not really like that. People were aware that like those early mined coins are really precious, so they really stay very centralized.
So, for instance, if the original coins held by Satoshi Nakamoto were to be moved, do you think that would change the project? If people still didn't know who actually moved them, but if they actually moved, do you think that would change things?
Not anymore. In fact, actually, Satoshi, those coins that are associated with Satoshi, I'm not even sure if it's correct, but this is actually not such a big percentage of all Bitcoins in circulation, right? In many projects, owners of the project, like some kind of a foundation or creator, owns over 50% of all coins. So comparing to that, those coins usually, which we assume belongs to Satoshi, is not such a big part of all coins in circulation right now. So I believe, it would probably move the price, but I think at this moment the project is so decentralized that it wouldn't change that much. It would probably change something to the story, to this legend of Bitcoin, right? But I don't think it would be deadly, for example.
Right. That being said, do you involve yourself with any other altcoins at all, or are you just Bitcoin focused?
Yeah, so I'm a free market guy. I believe that people should have freedom to do whatever they want. I'm a Bitcoin guy. I believe that the monetary aspect of Bitcoin is the most important for me right now. And when it comes to, for example, projects like Ethereum, I cannot deny that people are using it, and it has traction, and I don't think it will go away anytime soon. So maybe from a purely speculative investing perspective, maybe it's a good investment. I don't know. I think that it's such a complicated project, such a complicated space. I don't have enough knowledge to really evaluate a lot of things going on in the Ethereum space. I think I understand Bitcoin much more, and I understand the value proposition is much clearer to me. With smart contracts, I definitely see that people are using it, and I see that there is attraction, so I cannot deny that, but I guess maybe I'm not technical enough to understand everything going on there. So I'm staying away. But at the same time, I believe that people can do whatever they want. For example, I like privacy coins. I like Monero. It's fine. And I don't think there is something fundamentally wrong in having your own altcoin. That's fine. I believe that it may be a problem if people like, for example, creators are trying to mislead audience with, I don't know, maybe too bold statements. But I'm okay with altcoins. I'm just not into them that much.
Yeah, no, I definitely can relate to that. I mean, it's such a complex space. Understanding Bitcoin is difficult enough for the average person, never mind trying to understand each and every single one of them. But like you said, though, they're very interesting, and I'm also a fan of competition, especially in this space. So maybe just dive in a little bit more into your deltabadger.com. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and how it works?
Yeah, Delta Badger is a dollar cost averaging bot for cryptocurrency exchanges. I rather use the words like service, tool, or an app. I don't like the word bot because usually it's associated with some strategies, more active strategies, and dollar cost averaging is very simple strategy. You can say passive strategy of investing, but it does just that. It automates buying Bitcoin on exchanges right now on Kraken, Binance, and BitBuy. And the funny part is with Delta Badger, you can dollar cost averaging not only daily or weekly, you can dollar cost averaging hourly or even more often. The interesting part is that I did some backtesting, and basically the more often you do this, the better your result is. For example, on historical data from Kraken, when you do hourly dollar cost averaging, it outperforms daily dollar cost averaging by 1.5%. So it's not a huge number, but if you can do this, why not? Because of that, and because of the fact that on Kraken, on exchanges like this, you generally have a great price for Bitcoin because fees are very low. Because of that, I believe that with Delta Badger, we can probably get the best result with dollar cost averaging.
When a user uses your platform to dollar cost average, are their funds stored then with the exchange?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't store any coins. You connect your exchange account via API you generate API keys and you connect them to the app, and basically the app just manages your account, right? So it triggers transactions on your account, but you need to have funds on your account. And also the bot cannot, for example, do a withdrawal. It can only buy or sell coins. So it's up to you what you do with them next.
And when did you launch it?
I launched in January, but at the beginning, I had users from January, but at the beginning there was a lot of small bugs. I need to fix them. So it's like growing slowly. It's not my full-time job right now. I'm still involved in other things. So it's growing slowly, but steady. I have new users every week, every day sometimes. And yeah, I have paid users and people are quite excited about the product. So I'm really happy how it goes. With this project, it's a crypto project. So you cannot, for example, use any type of advertisement, typical advertisement like Facebook, Google, Twitter. Everybody bans crypto businesses basically from ads. So it's growing organically, and I'm really happy with that because I'm getting a lot of feedback on the way, so I can improve stuff. And I think it's getting more and more ready for a bigger audience.
Well, it's really great to hear. That's exactly what I tell people too, is that they need to dollar cost average. Like especially if they don't know anything about the space and whatsoever, but they're just trying to have somewhere to invest their money and have it appreciate in a safe manner. I mean, dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and securing it is the best advice. I personally think is the best advice I can give them. So kudos to you for building such a service. I think it's a great one. Now, what do you think about investment strategy once you own Bitcoin? You're a fan of hodling, or do you like decentralized finance where they'll give you an annual percentage like BlockFi or something like that?
Yeah, I think you can play with BlockFi, but I believe that the biggest value of Bitcoin is the store of value, and I believe that hodling is the best thing you can do with your Bitcoins, at least with majority of it. You should hodl, and I think a lot of people, because our economy is so inflationary, a lot of people are not really familiar with the idea of having, savings and hodling anything basically. So Bitcoin is kind of a gateway drug to this concept that you can have capital. Right now we are living in a world when you are endorsed to spend your money as soon as you get them, and even get debt, on your credit card, a mortgage, and basically people are quite often. I'm not sure how does it look in US, but in Poland, a lot of my friends do not have big savings. So I'm happy that Bitcoin is in this landscape right now, and I see that many people like myself, by involvement in Bitcoin, they are learning about money a bit more and about the power of having your personal capital. And I believe Bitcoin is a great way to store your capital.
Now, where do you see Bitcoin on a macro stage, in the coming years? Do you see it as an existential threat to the central banks? You think this is something that's going to take place, or how do you see governments reacting to mass adoption to cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I don't expect Bitcoin will create some kind of a black swan event, hyper Bitcoinization, for example, overnight. I believe this process will be very slow, and I believe that both politicians and central banks basically react to reality. So I'm not sure how it will happen, but I believe Bitcoin will be more and more important over time. And I'm not sure if it will ever reach the level of being like a global currency, or where you have just one currency and everybody is using Bitcoin. I'm not sure if it's possible, but surely it will be more and more important. I believe it will reach at least the status of gold, or maybe even bigger. And that's alone is already a big success. And I believe that I'm not really a maximalist in a way that you should hodl just Bitcoin and you should be not interested in anything else. I believe that it's good to have a choice, and Bitcoin is one of those things right now you have in your arsenal. You can have real estate, have gold, you can have money if you need some cash to spend it on your daily needs, but you also have Bitcoin, and it's kind of first of all, it's a diversification, but on the other hand, it's just a choice. So I'm okay with people having different ideas and different choices. I believe it's smart to have a significant portion of your savings in Bitcoin, at least 5%. But I would advise, to my friend, I would advise more. But for somebody who is not interested in Bitcoin that much, or don't understand it, maybe 1% is a good place to start. I don't think it's smart to don't have any.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And again, if you're new to the space, 5% is a lot of money that you could potentially lose if you don't know what you're doing. There's no reversing transactions in Bitcoin, so it's very unique in that way. So, and that's
but
what
on the
people
other
need.
hand, because that's interesting. For example, 1% of Bitcoin. If you have 99% in cash, and you add like 1% of Bitcoin, it doesn't make your whole portfolio more risk. Actually, the opposite. Because what is the worst scenario? Bitcoin goes to zero and you lose 1%. It's almost nothing. But the best scenario, Bitcoin goes 10 times and you are plus 10%. Right, so it's like it's really asymmetric bet, and it's not like you are making taking some huge risk, but at the same time you are getting this exposure on this growth. But on the other hand, Bitcoin is kind of insurance. A couple of scenarios where cash may be less useful, and those are maybe a bit apocalyptic scenarios, like some kind of a hyperinflation. Maybe a war, maybe some other event. Yeah, I agree. This is probably not very. I don't think it's very probable. Those scenarios are very probable, but at the same time, Bitcoin is an insurance, so it costs you just 1% or actually even less, because I don't believe Bitcoin will ever go to zero. So it costs you this very little fraction of your capital, and you are basically securing those particular scenarios, right? So I believe this insurance aspect of Bitcoin is also important.
What do you think is the biggest thing to happen in the Bitcoin space this year?
Well, the thing is, right now, I don't see any spectacular events on the horizon. I see the space very healthy. I see that all fundamentals of Bitcoin are growing. I see a lot of people dollar cost averaging. There's a lot of competition in the space of services doing that, and I think that's very healthy because dollar cost averaging is a great foundation for the future growth of Bitcoin, because those money people dollar cost averaging are not speculator buying on one day and selling on the another. They're usually moving coins away from exchanges, and they are long-term oriented, so it's very, very healthy kind of investment. And on the other hand, I see how Lightning Network is growing, how the number of transactions on the network is growing, and I see new technologies are coming to the Bitcoin, like Schnorr signatures and taproots and other interesting stuff. So I believe it's healthy, basically in all aspects of it. So I don't see any, after halving, I don't see any particular event that may trigger some big move. I believe it's just healthy, and I expect it will grow. But first of all, I'm really happy that Bitcoin grows as a technology and as a use case, and I believe the price will follow.
You mentioned the halving. We just went through the third halving in May of this year, and around this time is usually, if I'm not mistaken, is usually when the supply and demand economics are fully realized.
Yeah, correct.
So are you expecting a bull market in the next 12 months like many others in this space are?
Yeah, I think it's more likely than not. However, I believe that we like to project past into the future. It doesn't work like that. Usually it doesn't work. With halvings, actually, we don't have that much data samples. It was just which one? Third one. I think it was
Yes.
Third one. So statistically, it's irrelevant that twice. That we have twice halving and bubble after that. It might be this time might be different. Also, I believe that right now, like with every halving, the significance of the supply drop is smaller and smaller, because it's like a smaller portion of all coins in the circulation. So right now, I believe the events, for example, the events triggering big price movements that have very different nature, rather speculative. Some big funds are moving coins, or maybe some scams, like the infamous Plus scam from China. So yeah, I don't know, but generally I see that the space is very healthy. As I said, I see more opportunity for grow in the fact that many people are dollar cost averaging, for example. And it's such a powerful meme right now, because with investors, with speculators, the problem is they are buying and they are selling, right? So but with those dollar cost averaging people, they are buying long term. This is something that removes coins from circulation. So I'm looking in that direction with hope when it comes to the future price movements. But when it comes to halving, obviously it was a very important event. The supply dropped, so I expect it will still have an influence.
Now, where do you go when you want to learn more about Bitcoin? Do you have any people or websites that you follow in particular that you'd recommend to myself and other people?
Yeah, that's getting harder and harder question for me, because I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm an OG, but I'm in the space for a long time. I'm overloaded with information, so I don't really follow very too much basic stuff. I would probably direct people. What was the website? Oh, for example, I love What Bitcoin Did podcast. I think right now it's probably a good place to learn. There was a couple of great podcasts in the past. Right now, I think What Bitcoin Did is like a great place to get educated. The problem with Bitcoin is that it's really complex topic, and you can find many explanations of Bitcoin on many websites, on many YouTube channels, but it's not really enough to understand the complexity of the topic. So it's really like a rabbit hole, and you need to to read and listen and learn and absorb this knowledge. And it's up to you, basically, how deep you want to go. Right now, there is plenty explanations of fundamentals, but to really understand what is going on here, you need to invest much more time.
Did you want to make any final comments or have any questions for me?
Yeah, so I have a question for you. Like, what was your story? How did you started your podcast? What was your motivation? That's interesting.
Well, I became very passionate about Bitcoin, and doing a podcast was one of the only ways I found I could contribute to the space. As I'm not a developer myself, I've learned a little bit along the way, but it's not. I didn't grow up learning code, but it's something I aspire to now. But I feel like I can decently speak on a microphone. I feel like I can write up some notes, and I know how to edit audio and video. So I just put these skills together, and being able to go and talk to people like you that have been around in the space for a long time, different people, is very educational for me. And so I have a great time doing it. And this is one of the ways I feel like I could contribute to the space and try to keep it dense and valuable, worth coming to and listening to, and keep it dense with people in here. And I spend a lot of time on the editing, making sure, I'm not wasting people's time. So
yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing. I love that that a lot of people want to contribute, and it's like there is something in Bitcoin story that people want to be involved, want to do something themselves, and this is very. I believe it's also important for me. I wanted to do something, and I'm not a programmer. I cannot, for example, contribute in the Bitcoin repository. I would love to, but I'm not that technical. So I wanted to do something for others and contribute in some way. So I can relate to that. It was great.
Yeah, no, and like I said, that's dollar cost averaging. As soon as I saw that always rings a bell to me, because I feel like that's some of the best advice you could give people when coming into the Bitcoin for the new user anyways. So
yeah, and I want to say one more thing, that I really did this at the beginning. I did this for myself and friends. For myself, because I wanted to have my own project, and I wanted to do something fun with Bitcoin, and I wanted to contribute in some way. And for friends and family, because I was constantly asked, when to buy, is it the right moment, is it too late? So I wanted to have some kind of a place where I can direct people with all those questions.
Well, I think you're doing something really great. I'll definitely add all your links in my show notes and do a shout out once the episode is ready. Do you mind just letting us know where to follow you?
Yeah, I think Twitter is great. You can easily find me on Twitter. I have a very short Twitter handle, KLOS, so it's easy to find me.
Great. Thanks again, Jen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to episode 34 of the Halving Report. I'm Brad Mines, your host. Please like, share, comment, and show love for the show. We'll see you next time.